Hello humans, this is Retro Rocket Man. Today I've got a knockoff Batman, an armoured Batman from Batman vs Superman. Yes, he's pretty junky, but he's got a lot of good detail. He's a non-licensed product, that's why he's a knockoff. And as you can see, he's got lots of screw holes and holes for speakers and the battery compartment. And he's got some marks on his face. And the helmet's not quite right, but a lot of the other details are pretty good. There's a lot of potential with this guy. Unfortunately, trying to get his head off, it just snapped the ball peg, and it's just a hollow two-piece ball, so the quality is not that great. I'll have to try and fix that down the track. But he definitely has a lot of potential, and I'm going to have a good go at giving him a good repaint. The cape's nothing fantastic, but it'll serve a purpose. All his joints are quite loose, so he likes to fall over a fair bit if I'm not careful. As per usual with figures of this kind, they only half paint the front and don't do any painting on the back, but I'm going to rectify that. But quite happy with all the other details on this figure. So naturally I'm going to take him apart because it'll be a bit easier to painting and fix him up. Fortunately there's just a few screws and he'll come right apart, and you can see the inner workings. He was a light and sound figure, but none of that works because it's all come apart. So I found it in the op shop. This is him apart. There's not a lot to him, just the arms and the legs and the torso and the head. So I'm going to start by using some milliput and plug up some of these holes. And you just simply mash it together, two parts. Just knead it together for a few minutes, and then voila, nice and uniform, and it's ready to be used. It's a bit like sticky plasticine. This is where the light function was, which had fallen into the body cavity, and I'm not going to be needing it anyway, so I'm just going to fill that up, smooth it down with a bit of water, and then I'll give it a light sand when it's dry. Same process with the other holes. This is where the sound would have come out, speaker holes, so I'm just filling those. Using the same method, a bit of water just to smooth it down, so it's not as much to sand when it's dry. And I'm just filling in the access to the battery compartment because I won't be using that anymore, so I'm just going to cover that in as well. And the fins on the legs were hollow, so I'm just filling that in with some more milliput just to make them more solid. Time for a respray once that's dry, and I'm going to start by using a grey primer. This will actually be the new body colour. This is the main paint job that I'll be doing, so this is the main finish. And in those areas where he's obviously wearing some sort of undergarment, I'm using an olive green, a flat olive green, which I'll darken once it's dry with some black shoe polish. Naturally, I've got to redo the belt, the Bat utility belt. I'm I'm going to use an undercolour or an undercoat of just plain ordinary yellow acrylic, just to distract from that grey. And the same on the fins, on the arms and the legs. So I'm just giving them an undercoat of yellow. And then I'll top coat it with a metallic gold. So once the yellow's dry, the gold goes on, and should make it 10 times better. Bit of gunmetal grey on the buckles of his belt. Now I'm applying the black shoe polish. I'm going to give the whole figure a wash of shoe polish just to darken down the grey and also bring out a lot of the sculpted detail and give it a bit more of a weathered look. It's one of my favourite processes. I'll be applying this basically all over, removing the excess with a clean cloth. And it just brings out a ton more detail and adds that little bit more realism to the figure. Essentially this is an armoured Batman version, so it's like a battle suit. So it's got to show a bit of wear and tear, especially if he's going up against Superman. Same for the helmet. This is straight onto the grey primer. Just a liberal coating of black shoe polish, and then it gets removed later. Now, just to the faceplate. Painting a skin tone, a flat flesh tone. It's the only part of Batman that you actually get to see that's visible. The man underneath. And this will require 2 coats of flesh tone. Being very careful to stay within the lines. Now the eyes, just painting them plain white acrylic. And for my secret recipe ingredient, I'm using a silver eyeshadow. I'm just going to liberally rub that into the surface of the grey, just to give it a more metallic look. It's a subtle finish, but it makes all the difference. This just distracts from the fact that it's a plastic figure and makes it look more metal. Just using your finger seems to be the best way to apply it, and rub it in. The screw holes in the back, I'm leaving those because I need to put it back together. And when the cape's on, you're not going to see them anyway, they won't be visible. I suppose I could fill them in down the track, but because I'm not going to see them, it doesn't bother me to leave them in. You'll notice the ball peg is still intact. I did break it again trying to put the head back on. So yeah, I'll have to glue that down the track just straight onto his shoulders. I'm applying a brown shoe polish to the skin tone just to bring out some details in the face. So I've brushed it on and now I'm just dabbing it off, trying to create like a mottled skin texture. And the darkness of the brown remains in the lines of the lips and other features of the face. It accentuates them, brings them out. And just doing a little bit of extra shading and stubble application just to try to give it a little bit more realism. Again, you can just remove any excess if it's too heavy with the cloth. That looks better. And now it's time for some silver dry brushing. And you just get some silver acrylic, put a little bit on the brush, take the excess off with a rag or paper towel, and then just lightly catch those raised areas in the sculpt to accentuate wear and tear and scratching. This just gives it another level of interest. Just in those metallic areas, staying away from the areas that are meant to look like an undergarment. You can see where I've painted them green, but I've left more black shoe polish on them, so it's darkened that down a fair bit. Doesn't look quite green anymore. Scuffing up his toes. Just the dry brush method is perfect for that. And a random approach. Same on the helmet, we want to make it look like it's got some scratches and scrapes from his recent encounters with Superman. And there you have it, fellow humans. There is my version of the Armoured Batman from Batman vs Superman. As I said before, this is a knockoff figure. It's 12 inches and with a bit of tweaking here and there, I think is 100% better. So I hope you enjoyed it, humans. This is Retro Rocket Man. I'll see you when I make the next one. Over and out.